Welcome back, everyone, to the Abundance Formula podcast. Today's just another quickie episode that I want to springboard on last week's episode. I've been really feeling like I want to focus on, for these solo episodes at this time of year, focusing on helping people not peter out on their goals or their aspirations, right? So January is a very strong season to set these dream goals, or as we talked about last week, setting new standards for yourself. Dreaming big, aspiring, pushing, right? We've got all the motivation in the world, but then January 19 or something is Quitter's Day. So then by February, over 70% of people have just let go of their goals, dreams, and the things that they really wanted to push for in the next year. So we just started March. Last week's episode was to try to reignite your fire at the close of February, to keep going, to reignite those flames if they've started to peter out, or keep them going if you've done pretty good hanging in there. And so for this episode, last week we talked about, if you haven't listened to it, you can listen to it after this one or before. But last week we talked about getting really intentional with your time, really gaining clarity around it, how to set up your day to get a lot done. I talked to you guys about Ed Milet's way of creating 3 different work days or efficiency days within one 24-hour period. So really making the most of the 24 hours you have every day so that you can live as balanced as possible, a life as you want, from family to fitness to fulfillment, your careers, your aspirations, right? So we talked about that last episode. So now this episode, I want to, in further pushing you towards the achievement of your goals, the new standards you've set for yourself, your plans for this year, is to get clear on where maybe you're wasting your time. Because again, one of the biggest excuses that I hear with clients, patients, whatever it may be, whoever it may be, is this struggle with time. So last week we worked through organizing your time and how it could fit in your busy day. But now we're going to look at where you're wasting some of this time, because a lot of people really haven't thought too much about that. Like, let's do an energy audit today. That's what I want to do, is this exercise of an energy audit for you, so that you can see where you can gain more time back, because so many people don't realize and how much time per day they're really wasting. And so this could look at a lot of different ways. So here's a couple ways you can physically do this energy audit exercise, which I think it's very helpful to do it physically in one of these 2 ways, because it just really brings it to life for you. It makes you sit down and be intentional about it, and it helps you to remember, because again, a lot of us don't purposefully waste our time, right? It's more an accident. And so when we get clear on where we're wasting our time, now we can start using that time more efficiently. Again, we realize we had this time we didn't know we had. So you could do this with sticky notes, or you could do this in like a 2-column framework. I kind of like the column situation, and I like having it available because, again, it will remind me of where I've been wasting my time and what I could translate that time into if I were to not waste it on that other thing. So 2 columns, 1 column, say the left column is what's taking your energy. And then on the right is what could you put that energy towards that would be more valuable in projecting you towards your vision, supporting you towards your vision. So in the left column, I like to phrase it again, not as what's wasting your time, but what's stealing your energy. Because it's one thing about literal time, but you can do a lot in a short bit of time if you've got the energy. And I think that's also, more than even time, people's biggest problem is they don't have the energy. They literally don't feel like they have the cellular energy to pursue more. And so this is a combination of how to think about this. Energy audit. Look at what's pulling your energy away from your vision versus projecting you towards it, fueling you towards it, and also thinking of it in the sense of what's wasting my time, what's wasting your time and your energy. So this could look like several things. I know for one of mine is aimless scrolling. I think that's one for a lot of people. It's really stupid how much time we can lose, literal time and then energy, depending on what you're scrolling and how it affects you. But literal time we spend just scrolling. You do it, sitting on the toilet, scrolling away, your only private, especially your parent, your only quiet time, alone time, potentially, not even that. But, it's like, or you're sitting on the couch for a minute and you think, okay, I'm just going to scroll for a second. I'm just going to decompress, and you end out scrolling. But then before you know it, you've scrolled for 30 minutes or more, right? And when you see at the end of a week, if you monitor in your settings, because you can literally see it in your phone, how much time you spend on social media or Google, whatever is your jam to scroll, you can see how much time you spent scrolling. And it's insane how much literal time you could get back if you didn't just aimlessly scroll. It's not a bad thing to scroll. It definitely does decompress. Or for me, it does, like, I get on there to inspire, like, to be inspired and like motivated to keep pursuing my goals. For me, I'm not one that follows things or clicks things. Or pays any mind to things that are like negative. I know some people can emotionally be taken down by scrolling for a short period or a long period. I'm not really linked to it emotionally, but I do waste a lot of time because I'll scroll and then I'll get distracted just spending like, it's one thing to get a blip of inspiration or motivation, but I don't need an hour straight of it, or I don't need 2 hours total of it in a day, or however much. I don't know that that's my numbers, but I wouldn't be surprised sometimes. So I don't need that much of it, right? I need to get to doing my thing. I need to not spend as much time looking at what other people are doing and get to my thing. So it's helpful, say, if scrolling is one of your energy sucks or something that takes away your time or takes away your energy and isn't truly, especially for the amount of time maybe you spend scrolling, pushing you towards your vision, then you can start saying, okay, when I feel those moments, I want to take a second to decompress, on a little break. Just set a timer. Be like, okay, I'm gonna chill out and scroll and be inspired or whatever, or laugh, whatever you go to social media or go online for, gather some news, whatever the latest news is, whatever your reason is to scroll, even if it's straight up just to zone out, that's okay. If you're super efficient, trust me, I know it's helpful to sometimes just freaking zone out and not be listening for efficiency, like to not on my jogs or my listening time doing the dishes or something, listening to a personal development podcast so I can keep growing while I'm trying. Like sometimes you just want to zone out and listen to nothing, or to just daydream, or to listen to, I've got a couple little podcasts I listen to that are just reality star shows. So pointless information to proficiency in life, but it's just, a little break, right, from my mind constantly being efficient. So that's all fine, but just set a timer for it. Decide how much time you want to spend on it and set that timer. You'll gain a lot of time back. I know I gain a lot of time back when I just set a timer to have my 10-minute zone out or whatever it is and move on. So scrolling could be one thing, or watching TV shows. I don't watch a lot of TV, but I go through little spurts. If I happen to find a show that I like, when the kids are busy playing together really well, it's easy for me to zone out for a minute and not realize that I've watched 3 episodes straight of something on Netflix. That's a lot of time. I could have done a lot with that time. So again, it doesn't mean you have to cut it out. It doesn't mean you can't do it. It means, okay, maybe I'll watch one. That's already 45 minutes to an hour of my time. Because one thing I do want to do in trading that is get back to reading more. And for the longest time when my kids are younger, there was just no way I could sit down and read. It's like if mommy sat down and looked like I had a second or I was going to spend time reading, then they wanted to do something. But they don't bat an eye as much if it's just the TV on or something. But so I haven't read for a while, and I've gotten out of the habit of reading. And I like reading better, honestly, than watching shows. Even if I'm reading for fun or if it's reading for education, whatever. I know it's so good for your brain to read whatever it is you're reading. And I want to spend more time doing that than in any sort of chill time watching a show. And I have that time now, but I'm wasting it and accidentally getting caught up in 3 episodes of a Netflix series instead of stopping at 1. I could have read for 30 minutes or 10, whatever. Again, it doesn't matter. Whatever your time dedication is you want to your zone out time or your chill time or distraction time, whatever you want it to be, but paying attention to it, because it's very easy to zone out and have wasted 3 hours of your day, and then at the end of the day be complaining like you don't have time to do all the things you want towards your dream. You actually do. You just need to realize in your day where you're wasting that time or the energy is being drained from that thing, and then curtail it. Put some time limitations on it. So those are some literal things like that could be distracting you or wasting your time. But here's some examples of what could be an energy drain, like taking your strength away from pursuing your dream life. Would be maybe spending time with a certain group of people that don't align with your vision and they don't support where you want to go. Maybe you have some health and fitness goals, but the people you've been spending your time with actually pulls energy from that because they don't care about living a healthy lifestyle. And they, if anything, are more holding you back from the pursuit of that, making you feel guilty about making better food choices, or making you feel like you don't love them as much if you're not eating what they're eating, or, whatever the thing may be, or that maybe you're hanging out with toxic people who are gossipy and always tearing somebody down. And, you don't even like feeling guilty by association with people that are just negative or mean, whatever the thing is, or emotionally abusive, whatever the type of thing is. Like, that's an example of where you could be losing very valuable energy towards your purpose and the things you want to create with your life, is who are you hanging around with? So that's one form of the energy suck. Or another example could be, how much time a day do you feel like you spend? And this, we're sitting down writing it down and giving a time estimation to it. And you'll start paying attention. It may take a couple of days to flesh this out, because then you can start, if you are aware of where you feel like you're probably wasting time or energy's being sucked away from you, you'll catch it in the day, and then you can start paying attention to how long or how many times a day this happens. But so, example of how many times do you worry about a hypothetical problem that could occur and how you would solve it, and you get in sort of a mind loop of solving this problem or having this future worry about something that maybe hasn't happened yet, or like the start of some kind of controversy happened, and then your brain's just looping, worrying about what you'll do if XYZ happens, and then if XYZ happens, what are you going to do? And you just spend time in worry loops. Or just, how much time do you waste a day spending on assumptions instead of just being a good communicator? So again, these are examples of stuff that takes your energy. Note in your day when you do that. A lot of us can spend time in these worry loops about whatever it may be, instead of what could be the solution to that problem. Catch yourself. One of it, sometimes it's just awareness. Okay, so if you're a worry thought looper about something happens in your day and it gets you worrying about 20 other things in the future that actually haven't occurred yet, so that you actually don't solve the immediate problem that's in the present, start catching yourself. You'll note that's where you start wasting energy. So then when it happens and you notice you're about to go into the future worries, then stop yourself, recenter, be like, all right, what is the actual problem right now? Can I solve it right now? Is it something that I can even address? If so, get to addressing it. So it's almost more parenting yourself when it's things like that, to catch yourself in the moment and get it on your radar so that you can do that. And hopefully that will help you with some of those hypothetical things. Or if you realize it's a problem where it's an assumption thing, spending time assuming and just avoiding or procrastinating being a good direct communicator, is this thing I'm worried about and it's wanting to project me into this thought loop, is it something that if I was just to be a good communicator and go address this person, or, if I'm not sure how this text or email reads, just ask the person, hey, are you meaning it this way? And just address it head on, because then you don't have to waste all that future time worrying about it. You'll just know the answer, and then you can deal with whatever the answer is. So that's just an example of how to solve kind of that little energy problem. But just I'm just helping you guys brainstorm, because it's really this next step in keeping your goals and your creating your dream life this year alive, moving forward, and not being on quitter's day, not being one of those quitters, is to, one, learn how to organize your time and create clarity. We did that last time. Now let's find out where you're wasting time or wasting your energy and how you can claim that back. Because then you can start using it in a good direction. So if you've decided to do it in a column form, left side being where you're wasting time or losing energy or something's draining your energy, what could you use that with? Sometimes then I'll do like an arrow from that thing to the other side. Then where I'll say, well, what would I like to do with that extra time instead? And then I will kind of put the time allotment for, like, if it's not a bad thing that I truly just need to cut out of my life, like say, again, people I shouldn't spend time with or whatever, like I'll give whatever allotment of time I want to spend to it. And then I'll say also what I wanted instead. So maybe if I want to spend 45 minutes on watching a show, and that's fine and that's fun with my husband or kids, and then, hang on, say. Oh, I've got a little guest here. All right, we'll clean it in just a second. We're almost done. So put the arrow, put the time allotment that you want to give to the old thing, if any at all, and then how much time you want to spend doing something different. So for me, instead of, say, 45 minutes for a show, and then maybe I want to try out spending 30 minutes reading at first, and then I'll claim the rest of that 2.5 hours of time or whatever it ends up being for something else, whether it's more family time or more time into my business and this new project that I'm working on, whatever it is that you could spend. Now you've got that time back to utilize. Same thing for all those other areas. Some of it'll be hard to be tangible as far as if it's an energy drain, about the, say, worry loops. but you're going to feel the difference inside, and it'll be just practice and noticing when you're going down that path, catching yourself, and you have that energy back. You're not, poking a hole in your bag full of water and it's siphoning out, right? So hopefully that can be helpful for you guys. Just a little activity you can do. I really would get to it because I promise we're all wasting so much time and we need it back. We need everybody to fulfill the calling that's inside them and not give up. And whether that's you wanting to claim back your health, whether that's you wanting to build out your business more to make a bigger impact, whatever your thing is, spend more time with your family, feel more refreshed. Like, we deserve that time back and the energy. And I just can't wait to see what you guys do with it. So let me know if this was helpful. Hopefully it was. And I'll catch you guys next week for some more tips and tricks towards not petering out on your goals.